All right, welcome back. About 10 minutes to break down the draft with Dave Schuman of NUCSports.com. Great football evaluator. And is this like Christmas Eve for you, the night before the draft?
The only time that's as good as National Signing Day for me. So.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. As you watch, tomorrow's like Christmas Day for me. You know why? Because we don't have to deal with any of these mock drafts anymore. Because once a team makes a trade, Dave, you know this better than me, those mock drafts are as valuable as a 7-day weather forecast.
Yeah, every prediction goes right out the window.
Absolutely. When you watch kids being talked about in this year's draft, is there one kid, one position that kind of sticks out for you as kind of a something that you don't agree with at all, or you think people are being misled in one direction or another?
I think quarterback this year is the one that creates the most controversy, just because of different personalities that are there at quarterback and the rise and fall of several guys like Teddy Bridgewater falling potentially so far down, and the rise of Johnny Manziel and the controversy always around what people feel is controversial about him, and Blake Bortles, who really probably came out of nowhere and all of a sudden is thought of as being, one of the top 2 draft picks potentially in the draft.
If you were going to rate those 3, how do you rate them?
I would go Johnny Manziel, Blake Bortles, and then Bridgewater right now looks like he can be going, far past other guys like Garofalo and others. So, it's one of those things where he's unfortunately kind of dropped down based off of that workout that he had, and it's been hard for him to recover from that.
Jimmy Garofalo, the kid out of Eastern Illinois, what do you like about him?
Well, he's been very productive, even though he played at the 1AA level. I call it still 1AA.
Right.
It goes back to my UConn days when we were 1AA. And but yeah, absolutely. He really was fantastic, leading the team to the national championship game. I thought that he shows incredibly quick release, and his decision making has proven to be second to none if you watch him on his game film. So I think that's where he's really separated himself from the pack, from a guy that nobody really knew about, to being potentially one of the top 5 quarterbacks that are taken in the draft.
Do you rate him ahead of the Carr kid from Fresno?
He's right at this. It's depending on preference. He is even to me with Carr. So it's really going to depend. The draft is going to depend on who wants what and what
right.
they like. But to me, he's really on par with Carr. And Carr's a guy that he could end up being in late in the first round, most likely early second round.
What position, what team, Jacksonville, Cleveland, I wouldn't think the Raiders, although you never know with them, although somebody's got, Bucky Brooks has Bortles going 5 to the Raiders. What do you think is the absolute top spot that a quarterback, be it Manziel or Bortles, will go?
I think 4 with the Browns.
Right.
Again, they could try, depending on how much they think. I don't think anybody's going to go quarterback beyond 4, because the first guy is going to be Clowney, unless someone really has some kind of weakness in their brain that day. Clowney will be number 1. Greg Robinson from Auburn probably will be number 2. And the guy who's really moved up incredibly is the Buffalo linebacker, Khalil Mack. So
right.
I think the first time you'll see a quarterback go potentially is to the Browns. Not necessarily a lock, because Sammy Watkins is really the wild card in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people have Sammy Watkins rated as high as Jadvian Clowney as a prospect. So that means that he could potentially he's the guy that could be the disruptive one that changes things around, depending on how much value people see in Sammy Watkins.
Talking with Dave Schuman. You can track him. His Twitter handle is at NUC Football, or you can follow him on NUCSports.com. Let's go to the locals. The Giants picked 12. I've been a Giants fan since I was 5, which means 55 years. And it seems like the offensive line has never been worse, even in the dark days of 66 through 84, than it was last year. Which guy do you think can fall through the cracks to get them at 12? And let me ask you this, too. If the tight end from North Carolina is available, do you think they go in that direction instead?
Well, there's two interesting things. Number one, I think you have to look at Zach Martin is Notre Dame lineman. I mean, there's several linemen that you can look at that are right around that time period that I think they have to take a lineman if they can. If somehow a guy like Greg Robinson fell through the cracks, I mean, you have to take him. Short of that, Eric Ebron would be a fantastic pick, I think, for the Giants. But there's been some interesting stuff going around about him where the Giants aren't too sure about whether they should take him or not. But I know this, and this is a little known fact of Noah Ebron since he was in high school. And he's actually a guy that was born in New Jersey, and his favorite team is the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Right.
If they have that opportunity, it's really, do they think the lineman is the most valuable pick for them? I think in their situation, you've got to take a lineman.
Jets pick 18th. They need a wide receiver. Obviously, a guy like Mike Evans is going to be long gone by then, you would think. And certainly Watkins will be gone by then. Who's the next good receiver, Dave, who they should be focused on?
Odell Beckham from LSU. He could end up being around at that time period. There's some that think he could be going 14 or 15, but if Odell Beckham's around, you got to take him. He's a guy with trackman speed. He was very productive this past year at LSU. He came in, as a high school player with a lot of fanfare, and I think he's a guy that can make an impact right away. If he's around at that time period, I think you have to take him.
Do you think the Benjamin kid would be around then, the Florida State kid?
Benjamin kid will definitely, in my opinion, be around. The only questions with Benjamin is speed. I think his size is fantastic. He's got great hands. He's very athletic. He's enormous. There's no doubt about it. And he could play like that hybrid, really, because he's big enough to play that hybrid tight end spot, too. You could use him in that way. So, but he potentially may, I would say he's definitely going to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And he may be a guy that you can grab possibly in the second round. I mean, most people think he's going to be an early second-round pick. I would rather have, personally, Odell Beckham just because of the speed and the impact of that at the NFL over Benjamin.
It seems that all the experts think the Pats at 29 will go D-tackle, and I know on one site they're unanimous about Rashid Hagman from Minnesota, who I guess, Dave, from reading some of this kid's a freak.
Yeah, 6'6", I think. 3 bills. He is enormous. He tested incredibly well. He's a freak. I think that's the guy, if he's around, that they're going to take. There are several other, but I think they're going to go lineman one way or the other, defense or offense, if they don't take him. But if he's around, that's who they're going to take.
We got about a minute to go. Why over the last couple of years are running backs not even considered to be first-round draft picks?
It's my favorite question. And I'll tell you why. Because of the value of the passing game has changed in a lot of GM's mind, the value of the running back. And the second thing is the injuries that come about to the running back. Most guys don't last very long. Even the best guys have had problems. And you could lose a guy potentially for a whole season. And they two-platoon guys a lot. Use 2 running backs at all times. So they almost all hedge their bets as far as from a running back standpoint. They split the carries now to kind of preserve them, so the value would definitely drop. Now, you watch Seattle, and you saw what they were able to do with their running back, and you say, well, there has to be value, to the running back. Running backs present tremendous value in the time that they're able to play, but they have such a short lifespan, so their draft value definitely has dropped.
Who's the top running back in your opinion? Is it the kid from Baylor?
I actually like Trey Mason.
Really?
I actually like Trey Mason.
Wow.
Yeah. And a lot of people like late C-Trunk and from Baylor. That's what you're talking about.
Right.
But I like the way Trey Mason runs. I like his body type, and I think he's a guy that would hold up well to the physicality of the NFL. You see guys that have his type of frame be able to absorb the hits very, very well. Late C-Strunk is a guy that came onto the scene bursting on late. He was a first-team high school All-American, when he was young, and then kind of wallowed in the abyss at Oregon, and then it came out to Baylor and exploded. I still would have questions about late C-Strunk's durability, and is he still committed the way that he should be?
David, we got to run. We got to hit the Red Sox. Thank you for your input. I appreciate it. Great stuff.
You.
Dave Schuman, you can follow him at NUC Football or NUCSports.com.